Green Hell VR. Let's talk about it. So, Green Hell VR, I played personally on the Oculus Quest. And I know it has a lot of limitations compared to some of the other versions of it on VR, as well as to the actual video game itself. However, that being said, it was still a really fun game. So, Green Hell VR is a game about this explorer and his wife who are down in the jungles and they're meeting this tribe, talking to them, writing about books. The doctor, the male that you play as in this story, is also like a botanist. Like he knows how to make medicines, tells what kind of plants are what, stuff like that. And I believe, if I remember correctly, his wife's like a philanthropist, or a philosopher or something like that. I don't exactly remember what she is. Pardon me on that. It's been a while since I played the campaign on this game. However, the game takes some surprising twists and turns, and it reveals a really dark past behind the man, the tribe of Indians that they were working with, and his wife as well. So overall, the campaign mode on this game was fantastic. I loved playing through it. It still took a few hours, but it didn't take as long as most games do. But for a VR game, the like 6-ish hours it takes to play through the campaign, depending on how much of a hurry you're in and how much you actually want to spend like hunting around, building shelters, building yourself a base, things like that, is pretty decent. So more on the game. The game is a survival slash crafting type game, kind of like The Forest or The Sons of the Forest, which is the newer one, or even kind of like Minecraft or some other games. But the one thing I will say on this game is, of all of the VR games I have ever played, it had the best graphics. And it worked phenomenally well for the graphics on an Oculus Quest. So I absolutely loved that. It looked ultra realistic. Everything worked smoothly. There really were not any bugs or glitches or anything in this game. It was phenomenal. But anyways, back to the game. So you can craft and build structures. You can build yourself all kinds of different weapons based around stone and just regular wood, animals, all kinds of stuff like that. You can hunt, you can fish. There's all kinds of things you can do. However, one of the things is, if you don't learn enough through the information that you can collect in the game, you have to kind of test things in order to be able to figure out what they do. So, like, different mushrooms do different things in the game, different plants do different things, same thing with different animals. Some mushrooms, or not some mushrooms, some frogs, some stuff like that. Some of them can be poisonous, some of them can be very beneficial, some of them can be like a drug, like a hallucinogenic. So, you got to be really careful with these foods and plants and things that you eat and go around with. You can also craft yourself bandages out of a bunch of different things. You can hunt birds, you can collect bananas, you can collect fruits, all kinds of things in this game. Ultra realistic, ultra cool, in my opinion. I know that sounds a little weird, but it was really, really cool to play this game. The sounds in the game were fantastic. So yeah, anyways, the campaign mode for this game, like I said, is fantastic. The survival mode originally, when I first got this game, I got it when it came out on Oculus Quest. So the survival mode was a little lax. There wasn't much there that you could do outside of the campaign. However, now they've put in a bunch of updates, and there's some really cool enemies you can fight off and try and survive against, kind of like The Forest, where you're fighting against, tribes of cannibalistic humans. All kinds of things like that you can do. They increased the structures that you can build. They've added a bunch of stuff along with that. There's talk that they might add some mining into it so that you can make metal weapons and stuff like that instead of having to find them or just use stone weapons. There's a whole bunch of stuff that they're adding and working on. But still, even with that being said, the survival mode's a lot of fun. There's a lot of different difficulty settings you can choose. The map is basically the same as the campaign map, but there's still a lot of area to explore, a lot of things that can be done, a lot of things that you can walk around and see and find. There's just a lot of stuff to experience in this game. Again, it is a lot of fun to play. I would definitely give it a check because it is worth playing. And like I said, there's a lot of updates that have been coming out to this game. A lot of things have been being done. The developers are really on top of this game. When bugs are seen as common issues, they get them fixed pretty fast. So, just stuff like that increases the quality of this game. Overall, in VR games I've played, content wise, it's a little lax, but like I said, they do put updates out pretty often on it, and they do fix all the issues. So that's pretty nice, because a lot of VR games don't have very good, developer and support teams fixing the issues. And it does have really incredibly impressive graphics for an Oculus Quest game. So between those two things, I'd say it's one of the best VR games I've played. However, with the little bit of content that's there and no multiplayer, which again, that's also being talked about as being added as an update, but currently there is no multiplayer. It kind of knocks it down for me a little bit, because I like to play with my friends, especially survival crafting games. Because you know how, like, with your friends, you can go and goof off when you're playing, like, The Forest or Rust or Minecraft or whatever type of survival game you want to play. And it's a lot of fun to go screw around with your friends, run around, get into trouble, come back, or run to some random place and start building a base just for the heck of it, and then run away, and whatever. It's a lot of fun. So that is kind of disappointing, because it would be really nice to have that in this game, and it would make it even more interesting. But again, with everything else combined, I'd still say it's one of the best VR games I've played. So yeah, I'd definitely go give it a check. It doesn't cost that much to play. I think it was $20 on the Oculus Quest. I know it's available on the Rift and through the Steam store, I believe. I also know that you can play the base game on a PC. I'm not sure where else you can play it. I think it might just be on PC. But the regular game itself is really good as well. However, with that being a side note, there's not the full content, as I mentioned earlier, of the original Green Hell on Green Hell VR. So you do need to be forewarned about that if you're someone who has played Green Hell before. What you've experienced on the console or PC game is not what you're going to see on the Oculus Quest or Rift, because of the things they've had to change to make it a VR game. Now, they've said that they might add extra maps and stuff like that later on to make it up to the standard that the Oculus would be at the same point as the console and the PC versions. I'm not even sure if it is on console. I'm saying that for reasons of explaining. However, again, they said they might be putting them out and making this game bigger. So again, there's still more content coming out, and this game is just really good overall.